Welcoming Dr. Ellie Zarrabian, host of From Chaos to Connection, growing from pain toward community. Are you ready to make the most of your challenges while moving ahead with your dreams? Do you want your spiritual growth to be part of your healing while living your life with purpose? On Chaos to Connection, you will find resources to transform your difficulties into connections with others. Change is achievable. Dr. Ellie helps you make change both within and in the world. Learn to heal past traumas, become more self-assured, and take action in the world. No matter your spiritual background or cultural heritage, we will work together to transform pain and trauma to community and well-being. You can make this world a better place, starting with yourself. From Chaos to Connection starts now.
Hello and welcome. I'm Dr. Ellie Zarrabian, and this is my show From Chaos to Connection. If you're interested in the topic of personal growth and building better relationships at home and in the world, then you're definitely in the right place. As you recall from my earlier episodes, I had mentioned that I have spent the majority of my adult life studying and working with conflict and its underlying causes. I have done this kind of work both in my own life and with the people I work with. And my intention for creating these podcasts is to help more people like yourselves to become stronger and more resilient in the face of adversity, given all that's going on in and around us, both here at home and in the world. It's my hope that these podcasts can help you learn better tools, gain more skills, and connect more constructively with people at home and out in the world so that you too can experience the benefits of living with greater inner and outer peace. My intention here is to also build a stronger online global community where love is the topic of the day. Given that so many people are struggling in life, I believe building a more loving and sustainable global community is what we all need to help offset some of the difficulties we are all facing. In my previous podcast, I call this situation a state equivalent to being love-starved or love anemic on a mass scale, a real deprivation of the soul when it comes to feeling, receiving, and exchanging love. The pandemic has only made this situation worse for all of us. It seems that people carry around a lot of pain, hurt, anger, resentment, and disappointment in life. And when it comes to reaching out to other people in friendship and in goodwill, we just simply don't have the mental and emotional reserves. Instead, we seem to put a lot of our efforts towards other areas like work, money, status, and prestige, but still end up feeling empty and dissatisfied. To help remedy this condition, in my last episode, I talked about doing the required inner work so that we can find a path back to ourselves where we can feel and experience a life with more meaning and purpose. Finding more meaning and purpose is a sure way to create more joy and happiness in life. Also, our inner work allows us to develop connections that help us not feel so alone and isolated in our difficulties. And when we feel more care and support flow in and out of our life, we will find more fulfillment and joy in other areas of life as well. Once that inner path to love is cultivated, relationships improve and people find the capacity to deal more effectively with conflict and manage difficult situations with more acceptance, wisdom, and understanding. So, helping people find a way back to the self is probably the single most important area that I focus on. Finally, when people are able to feel and experience more love flow in and out of their life, they don't feel as compelled to displace their unhappiness and unmet needs out into the world and onto others. Instead, by building a stronger inner life, we create a stronger outer life. And if enough individuals participate in building a stronger inner life, imagine the impact it can have in the world. I'm sure you've heard of the saying, as above, so below, as within, so without. In other words, the stronger, happier, more inner peace we cultivate in our own life, the stronger, healthier, and more sustainable outer life we create in the world. Of course, love is a very vast topic of study, and so many people have already delved into this area throughout different times in our history. From philosophers to poets, from psychologists to sociologists, from theologians to the prophets. Initially, I even wondered what I could possibly talk about, say, or add that hasn't already been said and done before. No doubt, every culture on this planet has talked about love in every possible language that exists. And yet, here we are. The minute I sat down to write about this topic, I received an email about violence that's taking place in the world and specifically towards children. In that instant, I froze. I felt an overwhelming sense of sadness and grief come over me. And I thought to myself, how can I possibly talk about cultivating more love in the world when there's so much that is wrong with our world? How could I possibly make a difference? I think that's the question all good people grapple with. What can one individual do to make a difference? This is the dilemma we all face, isn't it? So I realized this is where our work begins. Together, if we learn to slow down and take it in stride, one person at a time, one day at a time, we can create the butterfly effect. When we slow down and manage our own thoughts and feelings and slowly cultivate more love in our own life, we are creating a paradigm shift. That is the phenomenon of the butterfly effect. So, building a more sustainable global community first begins with the self and then extends out into the world. My main point here is that we are not trying to solve our global problems by just talking about it. Rather, if we take small steps in our own life, gradually we can create a shift, and that's how we impact the world. When we slow down and self-assess, we are creating a starting point in life. And when enough of us have a starting point, then we create a path towards healing and wholeness. Over time, the path becomes more and more clear and more achievable. After all, the journey of 1,000 steps begins with one single step at a time. And if love is the destination, then the path to love becomes a series of small daily steps towards that goal. Slowing down means taking inventory of our inner and outer life. We start to pay attention to what's going on in and around us. And as we do this, we try not to judge what we see as good or bad. Instead, we learn to just observe and accept reality as it is. Like good social scientists, we learn to just observe initially. Then over time, when we are ready and we have all the tools, then we take the necessary steps towards change. It is true, initially when we slow down, we start to notice all the chaos in and around us, and that can become really discouraging. Just like how when I sat down to create this podcast, all of a sudden I get that disheartening email. But you see, chaos is very much a part of life. We can't do away with chaos. Life is created out of chaos. But what we can do is to learn to manage it and redirect chaos towards a goal that is more sustainable. As you know, I have lived through a great deal of chaos and conflict in my own life and have learned through experience and knowledge how to cultivate wisdom and understanding as a result of working through the chaos. My hope is that you too will learn to do the same in your own life. So, even when things seem very difficult and even impossible at first, you learn that there's always a solution to working through problems, even though they may seem impossible at first. But to do that, you have to be willing to become focused and disciplined so that you may learn how to work with, redirect, and shift the chaos towards a more desirable goal. That's because focus and discipline are the cornerstones for creating more love, freedom, and joy in life. Aggression, force, hostility are never the path to creating more love and peace in life. I think by now we all know this. Rather, when we focus and develop a discipline of the mind and heart to work towards love and peace in our own life, gradually we create a life based on peace and love. And that's a very different approach than running outside of ourselves and trying to fix the problem from the outside. When you develop a discipline to do inner work, you'll see that the effects of the work will naturally affect life on the outside. As we continue to grow and nourish our thoughts and feelings with love, right action will naturally flow through us without much effort. That's just how it works. But the same is true with anger, aggression, and violence. If that is the state of our daily consciousness, or if we hold and entertain those thoughts and feelings long enough, they too will become our reality. And we don't need to look too far in life to see the effects of those thoughts and feelings in the world. Okay, let's take a short break here. And when we return, I will talk to you more about building a stronger global community from the inside out. See you soon. Welcome back. I'm Dr. Ellie, and today's episode is about building a stronger global community from the inside out. In the first half of the show, I talked about how being love-starved or love anemic causes difficulties in people's lives. Feeling alone and isolated with life difficulties doesn't leave much room for people to reach out to one another in friendship and in goodwill. But if we learn to slow down, develop a focused discipline, and increase our resilience while learning new skills, we can then tackle the difficulties in life from the inside out. That's because we cannot control what's on the outside. The only real control we have is over our own thoughts and emotions. That's how we make a sustainable and lasting difference in life. In other words, by doing our own inner work, we impact the world by building better relationships and developing the capacity for more love and joy with family, friends, and the community. I'd like to share an actual story with you to give you an example of how this works in real life. Let's see, I had a client who came in to see me because she was very unhappy. She was actually quite depressed. And she came from a very well-to-do, but very strict and traditional family. She was a single woman in her late 20s at the time, and she had recently received her master's degree in computer science. She was very creative, and she had a dream of wanting to start her own business. But she felt she couldn't do that because that would go against her more traditional upbringing. Although she was very close to her family, she felt that she was not able to live more authentically because of the expectations that were placed on her. She felt a lot of pressure to live up to her family's standards and expectations. And as a result, she felt very depressed and even hopeless about her situation and her future. She was also troubled by the prospect of losing her family ties if she veered off on her own path in life. She loved her family and wanted to remain close, but she also wanted to live more independently. This caused a lot of conflict in her and in her home environment, and she could not see how her situation could improve. What she wanted seemed completely impossible to achieve. To bridge this inner and outer conflict, we started to meet on a regular basis once a week. And at home, she developed an inner practice for slowing down in order to sit with those difficult feelings so that she could gain more insight and understanding into herself and into her situation. Over time, she learned to manage her inner conflict by gaining more awareness and insight into her own mind and heart, while learning new tools to manage her stress level. She also began to build better communication skills for dealing with her family. Through this process, she gradually developed more understanding and compassion for herself and the struggles she had endured in life. Through that process, she gained the confidence to address her difficulties from a place of love rather than fear. And she learned to bridge the differences with her family, which lessened the fighting and the constant arguing. When she did this work on herself, she felt inspired at some point to help other women do the same. With her background in computer science, she eventually went on to start her own company, helping other women in a similar situation. This is an example of working with inner conflict that creates outer conflict. Then tackling the conflict from the inside created a natural progression towards making a shift on the outside. The shift in her own life motivated her to then help others make a shift in their life. This is the butterfly effect at work. Of course, it takes time and work to grow into a new place of self-awareness and inner strength because change doesn't happen overnight. But rather, through her hard work and effort, commitment, and discipline, she learned to take the necessary steps to make a shift in her life. All these changes fell into place for my client as she developed more self-love and compassion for herself, and then gradually towards others in the world. That's why I never encourage people to rush out into the world and change things out there when they haven't done their own inner work first. When we haven't worked on ourselves initially and we are faced with conflict, but rush out into the world to try and fix the problem from the outside, we in fact end up creating more problems for ourselves. You may have seen this to be true in your own life. So let's take a look at what's going on for you. For your homework, I would like for you to answer these following questions. Okay, so I'm going to go over these questions now, and then later in the recording, you can pause and answer the questions at your own pace. Number one, where do you see conflict or chaos in your own life? Number two, what have you done in the past to try and resolve these issues? Number three, did you go outside of yourself to try and change the situation? And finally, did it help? If not, would you be willing to take a different approach? If yes, then ask yourself, what am I doing to contribute to this chaotic situation? Again, what am I doing to contribute to this chaotic situation? What are my own conflicting thoughts about this situation? Why do I think this way? And how can I take more responsibility for my own thoughts and feelings about this situation? What can I do to make a difference in me first, not out there? These are some ideas on how to self-reflect. To further help you in this process, I like to give away a gift today. You can read more about this giveaway gift on my website. But as a way to help people create a more sustainable community from the inside out, I'd like to offer a 2-hour gift of expert guidance in crafting conflict management for building a more peaceful paradigm in your community, starting from the inside out. Please go ahead and visit my website to learn more about this gift and how you can sign up for it and receive it today. This concludes our 7th episode for today on building a stronger global community from the inside out. Be sure to tune in next time for our 8th episode. And I'm Dr. Ellie Zarrabian. This is the Transformation Network, from chaos to connection. Take care and see you soon.
You have been listening to Dr. Ellie Zarrabian, host of From Chaos to Connection. Tune in every second and fourth Monday at 2 p.m. Pacific on TransformationTalkRadio.com for more resources and tools to help with healing on your journey of life. You can impact the globe in the most powerful way possible. Whatever your spiritual background and cultural heritage is, you can transform pain and trauma into building community and connection. Join Dr. Ellie in identifying what you need to heal within and in our world. For more information, visit centeronpeace.com. That's centeronpeace.com.